How the heck are you, sir? You doing all right?
Hey, Governor, how are you? Richard Jankowski, President, GPS. Good to see you, Richard. Good to see you, sir.
All right, you ready to get started? Everybody good? Okay. My name is Doug Griffith, and I'm the president of the Houston Police Officers Union. And I want to thank everyone for coming today on behalf of the 5,100 members of the Houston Police Officers Union. It is a great honor to host this group of men and women here with an important announcement for Governor Abbott. As most of y'all know, Governor Abbott's been a lifelong public servant, serving at the Texas Supreme Court as a justice. He's been the Texas Attorney General, and he is now the 48th elected governor of the great state of Texas. So we want to thank you for coming, and know our home is always welcoming you. You've been here several times, and we greatly appreciate that.
Thank you.
From day one, Governor Abbott has supported law enforcement. In 2016, he announced a plan to lobby for the Police Protection Act here in the state of Texas. He also extended hate crimes protections for law enforcement officers who are victims of crime for just doing their job as a police officer. In 2018, Governor Abbott provided $23 million in rifle-resistant vests for law enforcement officers across the state. A lot of the folks here today were here when you had that announcement, and it's been a great project, and I know it's protected several of our officers out there. In 2020, Governor Abbott announced the 2021 legislative session that there would be a priority on police funding. We know how that happened in Austin. It did not go well. During the session, he was all in with law enforcement and called to and supported legislation that would punish cities that defunded their law enforcement agencies. Again, Austin has went downhill quick after they defunded, and it's really sad to see what that has turned into. Hopefully they'll be able to come back from that at some point. We'll see how it goes. But we know that the Capitol is well protected. He's done a great job with the DPS. In fact, gave him a raise. And you notice there's no issues at the Capitol. You've taken care of that. A huge legislative victory happened with Senate Bill 22, in which the governor fully supported that bill. That bill made it presumptive for law enforcement officers who contracted COVID that it was done on the job. This is a big relief for our officers. And across the state, I think we've seen that. We've lost a lot of officers to COVID, and it's helped us, when I leave my home at night, knowing that my family's going to be protected should I contract this virus. So it has been a big win for us, a big win for the government, for the governor, as well as law enforcement across the state to see our brothers and sisters fallen victim to this disease or this virus. In October of 2021, Governor Abbott announced his public safety office would administer $305 million in grants for public safety. That's big. That gets us boots on the ground out there to help protect our communities. It's very important. As every officer here today knows, it's a trying time to be a police officer, trying time to be in law enforcement. But it's comforting to know that Governor Abbott, the Lieutenant Governor, and most of our legislators are on our side, and they do what they need to do to help us to keep the citizens of Houston and Harris County and the state of Texas safe, and we greatly appreciate that. Governor Abbott doesn't just make promises during his campaign speeches. He follows through with them. He has always supported law enforcement, and for that reason, the Houston Police Officers Union is proud to support Governor Greg Abbott for his reelection this year as governor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. And we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Mitch Landry now.
Mitch Landry, Deputy Executive Director with Texas Municipal Police Association. This is actually probably one of the easiest endorsements that we can make every year. Governor, going back 21 years ago, 2001, we first met with you when he was running for Attorney General. He made the commitment then that he would support law enforcement. We were the first association to endorse you during that campaign. And since then, while he was an AG, while he's been governor, he has been a man of his word. He has stood behind us, been on the front lines with us, and we really appreciate that. Back during the Defund the Police, the governor was the first one to reach out to law enforcement and have a meeting and say, how can we fight this? This is wrong. And so he's the first one to the table. And as Doug said, he talks the talk and he walks the walk. And Governor, we are proud to endorse you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. My name is Lieutenant Richard Jankowski. I'm a state trooper and I'm president of the Texas Department of Public Safety Officers Association. Since 1974, DPSOA has been working to advocate on behalf of troopers, special agents, Texas Rangers, DPS communications operators, and forensic scientists of the Texas DPS. DPSOA is one of the largest organizations representing commissioned law enforcement officers in Texas and includes approximately 4,700 men and women who daily pledge their lives to protect Texans across the state. DPSOA is proud to endorse Governor Abbott for re-election. Governor Abbott has given us his unwavering support and understands the importance of the work we do to protect Texans each and every day, whether it's along our southern border or in our local communities. In an era where some cities are trying to defund law enforcement, he backed the blue by signing laws that punish communities that make these reckless decisions. Governor Abbott has taken direct action along our southern border, curtailing human trafficking, combating the smuggling of deadly illegal drugs like fentanyl, and building a wall, doing the jobs that Washington, D.C. won't. Texas is a law and order state, and with Governor Abbott's continued leadership and proven results, we can ensure a safer future for all Texans. I hope all voters will join us in supporting Greg Abbott for 4 more years as our governor. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Domingo Garcia. I'm the president of the Organization of Spanish-Speaking Officers. We are the largest independent Spanish-speaking organization in the state of Texas. Governor Abbott has been a tireless advocate for the law enforcement community. We are proud of the work he has done to help us curtail crime on the streets of Houston. Fighting to seize drugs at the borders lessens the amount that reach the neighborhoods we patrol each and every day. The Houston Police Organization of Spanish-Speaking Officers is proud to support Governor Abbott for governor, and we always will, and we'll bring other organizations to you. And now it's your turn.
Thank you very much. Well, Domingo, thank you. Doug, I want to thank you and HPOU as usual, and Mitch, thank you for your support. Richard, thank you, and DPSOA for the support of your great organization. Now, listen, the people I'm side by side with here today are some of the premier law enforcement officials and leaders in the United States of America. Standing behind them and the members of their organizations are some of the elite law enforcement and the best Texas has to offer. And they go to work every single day, putting their lives on the line to keep our community safer. I want to thank all law enforcement across the entire state of Texas for what they do to serve and to protect our communities. But I'll be candid with you. Even though a few days ago on Sunday we celebrated Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, we need to understand that showing our gratitude for law enforcement officers for one single day is good, but not enough. Because they put their lives on the line, because when they leave the office and go answer a call, they don't know, and their family does not know if they will ever return. We need to do more than just express our gratitude for our law enforcement officers. It is essential that we as a state, that local communities, that we as a people of this state do more to actually support our law enforcement officers. And as you heard up here, that's exactly what we've done through legislative session after legislative session, because we in the Capitol, we know the vital role that these law enforcement officers play. One thing that was talked about that I have to emphasize, and that is we have seen chaos across the United States in city after city after city that has used this defund the police approach. And it has led to higher crime, more dangerous cities, and a diminishment of the role that law enforcement plays. And I promised that I would not allow defund police laws to take place in the state of Texas, and that's exactly why we passed a law that will defund any city that defunds law enforcement. As Doug was mentioning, we did see a city in Texas defund their police, and it was the city of Austin. And so what do you think happened after that? What happened after that this past year? Austin set an all-time record for the number of murders. So many people lost their lives because of the catastrophic way in which the city of Austin went about policing. That's wrong, and because of it, the city of Austin now, because we passed this law, is having to refund their law enforcement efforts. I am running for re-election to ensure that no leftist radical liberal will take over the office of governor like Beto O'Rourke and be dangerous and defund our police. Let me be clear about the position that Beto O'Rourke has taken. Not only has he been supportive of the defund police movement, it's far worse than that. He talked about actually dismantling some police departments, and even worse, he said that law enforcement is now the new Jim Crow. Beto O'Rourke is dangerous to the communities and to the safety of the public and the people in this state, and he is not fitting to serve as governor because of his antagonism to the men and women who wear the uniform, who keep our community safe. The same applies with regard to another law that we have passed this past session to make Texas a safer place that actually had the city of Houston at the center of it, and that is bail reform. We have seen over the past couple of years more than 100 people in the Harris County area lose their lives because of people who were released on bail, dangerous people who were released on bail. That is inexcusable. It had to stop, and that is why we passed bail reform to try to stem or stop the effort of releasing dangerous criminals back out on the street, causing people to lose their lives. But Beto was sympathetic with the type of approach that Harris County was using. Beto, once again, would be extraordinarily dangerous to the men and women in this community, as well as across the state of Texas, if he were elected and allowed the type of reckless bail reform policies that Harris County was implementing to go back into place. I also signed laws to protect our law enforcement from dangerous rioters. We saw those riots taking place a year and a half ago, and we saw law enforcement threatened and harmed, and we have to have the back of our law enforcement officers, not allow them to be attacked. Also, as Doug mentioned, because law enforcement was coming under attack, literally being shot at, we passed several laws to make our law enforcement officers safer, including passing a law making it a hate crime to attack a law enforcement officer simply because of the uniform they wear. And also, as has been made clear, we have been working collaboratively with law enforcement officers to secure the border, a border that's caused a challenge because of the Biden administration's open border policies. Because of these open border policies and the drug smugglers coming in, the human traffickers coming in, the fentanyl coming in, that has placed an increased duty and task on the front line of people like the Houston Police Department. All these police officers, all law enforcement, are having to respond and add more personnel just to deal with the crisis caused by open borders. Once again, Beto O'Rourke was to the left of Joe Biden as it concerned open borders. He would help Biden ensure that open borders existed in Texas and completely overwhelm the ability of law enforcement to be able to respond. That cannot happen. So that we would prevent it, I, as governor, made sure that Texas would step up and do more than any state has ever done to secure a border, including the deployment of thousands of National Guard as well as Department of Public Safety officers to assist the role that local law enforcement plays. Also, we're working to crack down on fentanyl. Actually, we passed a new law that is signed into law that created a new crime for the manufacture or distribution of fentanyl in the state of Texas. We made it easier for prosecuting attorneys to prosecute human smuggling, so that will also be a felony that will allow us to arrest more smugglers and get them off of our streets. I am running for re-election to ensure that no radical will take over the office of the governor and lead to Texas being more dangerous. To the contrary, I'm running for re-election to go to work every single day to collaborate with law enforcement officers from every region of the state of Texas to make sure that we work together to keep your communities safe. Thank you once again for the endorsements, and thank you for what you do every single day to keep Texas safe. We'll take a few questions.
Governor, you mentioned better things several times in your remarks just now. Obviously, you have a primary still to get through. Should we take that as an indication you're not too concerned about getting through that primary, and you believe you'll get over that 50% threshold?
Listen, I take every election serious, and I'll be campaigning vigorously through the primary day and vigorously after the primary day. But the most important thing that I will be doing, I will be explaining to Texans exactly what was said here. I have made promises, and importantly, I lived up and fulfilled those promises, whether it be to law enforcement or in other ways. I am a person who has delivered for the people of this state, and my goal over the coming weeks and months is to make clear to the people of Texas that I have delivered. The point today is that as it concerns law enforcement and keeping communities safe, I have delivered for law enforcement and for the people of Texas.
Two more questions.
Governor, you talked yesterday about the suicides among the National Guard troops that are down on the border. What would you say to the families of those soldiers, and what could you tell the troops that are still there about when they can anticipate going back to their regular lives and civilian life?
So listen, to the family of anybody who loses a loved one is one of the most challenging things that family can go through. And I would say to them the most important thing that a commander-in-chief could say, and that is they served both their state and their country with valor, with dignity, and we thank them for putting their lives on the line to serve our state and to serve our country. Few people actually have what it takes to be able to stand up and do that for our state and country. All of these people did, and we are extraordinarily grateful for their service. As it concerns going forward, listen, part of what is going to happen going forward depends upon what the Biden administration does. And the Biden administration has this open border policy where we had almost, 2 million people cross the border, the entire southern border, this past year. And there's no seeming effort by the Biden administration to change that now. We did get a court order requiring the Biden administration to reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy. We are in the early stages of that. We need to see how that's going to work out. And we also need to see what's going to happen with any potential caravans moving toward Texas through the country of Mexico. And as we learn more information about both of those two items, as well as some other pieces of information, we'll provide greater guidance. That said, the guidance that I have directly given to the National Guard, troops themselves, as I have visited with them on the border, as well as the guidance that I've given to the generals in charge of the operation, and that is they have a fundamental duty, and that is to interdict and deter anybody coming across the border and to assist in the arrest and apprehension of anybody coming across the border illegally.
Last question.
Let me give somebody else.
Sorry, it sounds indefinite what you're describing. Are you seeing it indefinite?
I'm saying that we want them to return as soon as possible, but we are having to respond to the facts on the ground as they exist right now.
All right, last question. Governor Abbott, you mentioned bond reform. What do you think should be done differently here in Harris County as far as that goes?
Well, what Harris County needs to do first is to implement the bail reform that we passed over this past session to make sure that they are not releasing dangerous criminals back out on the street. I will tell you something else that we want to make sure that we achieve in the Capitol, and that is to make this even stronger. We want to, in this next session, pass a constitutional amendment that will also change what the law is in the state of Texas about who is and who is not eligible for bail. Bottom line is this. We need to stop releasing dangerous criminals back out on the streets only to go out and kill others.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.